welcome to another 180 Markets Weekly Wrap. And well, friends, uncertainty. That is certainly the theme in the market right now. Truly, nobody knows what is going to happen. But the current results are more inflation and higher interest rates, which are leading to lower equity prices. And it is certainly uncomfortable out there. Now, Shaun, you've seen a lot of markets. What are you doing right now?
What I'm doing? Well, it feels like every time the market has fallen over the past few years, it's bounced straight back. Will it do the same? No one knows. What I'm doing is getting out of the more illiquid companies when I can,
Right.
and putting more money into the liquid, like going into bigger, larger market caps where I think there's value. So going from trading a bit to value, because at the moment, trading, especially short term, is really hard. There's some great funds out there and there's some great index buying, but if things don't turn soon, it's going to be ugly.
And Shaun, speaking of turning, in a market, if and when the market turns, what do you think would move first?
Well, I think the bigger things, and that's why I'm positioning that way.
Okay.
So I do remember about 9 months ago when the tariffs came into play, everyone was panicking. The best buys at that time were the indexes. So the big ones go first. The small ones don't always recover, especially the liquid ones. Now, we are seeing a bit of a theme in the market when it comes to capital raises. Companies are raising a lot more than what they're going out for. They go out for a smaller amount to protect themselves, and then they take what they can get. Let's take a look at that now. Let's see what we had access to on the 180 Markets platform. Now, as we said, there is a theme where companies are going out to raise a small amount just to protect themselves. Now, ADX only went out to raise $2 million. We know for a fact that they wanted more. But a bit like an auction, Greg, when you go out with the lower amount, how much did they end up taking?
They ended up taking 4.4 million, Shaun, and just like you said, they set a reserve price, the equivalent of 2 million, and obviously they were able to exceed that.
Now, as an investor, I don't know how happy I would be, because they did say 2 million with the abilities to take overs, so they clearly took what they could get. And in a tough market like this, I guess, why wouldn't you? Another company that did similar, now we actually did not have this on the platform.
Yeah.
EVE, they only went out to raise 600,000, but they ended up taking 800. Now we can see here they went out to raise 600 to a mil.
Right.
They took about 900, so they clearly took what they could get, going out with a lower amount just to protect themselves. Other raises that I think will do the same that hasn't been announced yet to the market, another oil and gas one. Now, they only went out to raise 2 mil.
Right.
They haven't announced the results of that, but hey, 2 lead managers, I reckon they will take a bit more than that.
Looks that way.
Other raises this week, CC9, I think it's still live. Wasn't that popular, but this stock can move.
That's right.
And good luck to Dan Champa and the team.
And Shaun, just on that same thematic, raising about $1 million on a circa $20 million market cap company, they're probably looking for more.
I think that they'd be pretty disappointed if they ended up with only 1 million. Now, let's take a look at movers this week. Now, there's been a few bad ones that we're going to start with. We're going to get the bad news out of the way. Serra Resources, this is one that I used to follow years and years ago. They had a massive run. You've actually got to go back more than 10 years to see it.
Wow.
So this one was one of Tolga Kamova's success stories.
Right.
He did really well out of it. Went from a couple of cents, or a couple of pennies, as you call it, up to $6. And
wow.
They've had some hard times recently. Let's just take a look at that 30-day chart, Greg.
Wow.
That is not good. Do you know what happened there?
Unfortunately, the government feels that they have been anti-dumping, which is anti-competitive, and clearly the market does not like that one bit, Shaun.
Now, I don't think the market liked this, Greg. This one's a biotech. This is a 30-day chart, but let's turn it over to a 2-year chart. It went as high as 45 cents recently.
Yeah.
Today, trading down 90%. Now, you play with risky stocks, and this is what happens. Biotechs are as risky as you can get. Greg, they did not have good results today.
No. Shaun, unfortunately, they failed in phase 3, and phase 3 does not mean approval, friends. That is the lesson here, and unfortunately, they are really stuck at this point, Shaun.
Now, another negative one. I don't love this company, Brightstar, and the reason why I don't is they just keep raising and raising money. So I don't know what's happening there, but an ex-Canaccord broker moved into the company and just uses Canaccord to raise a lot of money. Now, something that we mentioned before about taking as much as you can.
Yes.
They just did an SPP. They went out for 5 million, and I think they took 18 mil.
Wow.
So if you're bidding for that SPP, I think you're going to get what you bid for, and that has what's caused the price to go down. Do you know what price that was done at, Greg?
I do not, Shaun, but here is a lesson. If you did happen to like this company, which you're saying that is not the case, and it keeps trading down below through it, and you feel like it's because of market technicals like an SPP that's essentially failed, is that actually a place to potentially buy?
Well, yeah, if you liked it, of
Right.
course, and especially with the gold price doing so well, companies like this, I think, should be trying to create shareholder value. And the only way to do that is by getting the share price up, not by increasing the amount of shares on issue. I'll never forget a conversation we had. We're not going to mention names, but a company director once told us they've created a successful company by increasing the market cap, by increasing the amount of shares. He wasn't concerned by the share price.
And we sold the stock the next day.
We sold it because as shareholders, we want the share price to go up. Now, Greg, something that is good in the market is obviously oil and gas. It's not great for the world, but if you're holding oil and gas stocks, you'd be pretty happy the last week or two.
Yes.
This is one that we are involved with, State Gas. Now, they're not producing oil. They're not close to producing oil, but this week it did go up. Let's just look at that 10-day chart. It actually moved almost 50% in a day. Now, illiquid companies can do that really easily, and it's a great way to make money if you're just in the right sector.
That's right.
Now, the king of the micro caps in the sector is 88E. Now, 88E, this is a 10-day chart. This stock can move like no other. It pretty much doubled in the day that the oil and gas price went nuts.
Yes.
And I don't know if they got any oil and gas that they can sell.
They don't, but they also put out a presentation, and they put out a presentation in conjunction with the oil price moving, and there you go.
That's it. It's so easy to move these companies. Finally, a good news story, another one, AGR. Now, well done to Warwick.
Yeah.
Warwick actually raised a big amount of money recently, and it's taken the raise off the stock. They raised 5 million. They weren't able to raise a big amount like that for a while, but they took what they could get. And as we said before, sometimes it can work.
You have to balance it out against dilution, Shaun.
That's right. All right, I think that's it.
Everybody, it is wild out there. Trade carefully.
Be very careful. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.